Well, hello, everybody. Welcome into another Boone Area Chamber of Commerce Chamber Report. Jumping right back into your email inbox once again. I mean, something must have happened, right? You're right. It did. And we'll get into that here in just a second. I'm David Jackson, President and CEO of the Chamber. Thanks for clicking on the link. In all seriousness, we've got some things that we wanted to share with you tonight as it relates to some of the guidance that came out of the state of North Carolina today from Governor Roy Cooper and Dr. Mandy Cohen about extension of phase 3 and some nuances to phase 3 that are a little bit different and confusing in some cases. So we want to make sure that we spell all of this information out as best as we possibly can. So with that said, let us go to the screen share and let's head to the state's website. I want to show you this email or this URL real quick. That's nc.gov/COVID-19. This is available and linked off of the Boone Chamber website. Just great clearinghouse for information as it relates to state programs. We're going to talk about a few of those tonight. You can get some future reading in there. But again, this link off of boonechamber.com, very helpful as we're looking at executive orders, some of the ramifications of those things as we move forward here. So let's get first to this indoor gathering limit. That was the big news of the day. Governor Roy Cooper announcing that the indoor mass gathering limit is lowering now from 25 to 10. Want to make sure that you're clear on what that means because straightforward, that looks like it's a pretty big move. As you look at the way things actually kind of go down the list, it really doesn't impact as many people as you think. So let's get right to that now. As we go to this page here, there's a frequently asked questions document. This is available in your email. It's also available on our website at boonechamber.com under relaunch and recovery. So this FAQ spells some things out pretty simply, that the new portion of phase 3, that's Executive Order 176, will take place Friday night at 5 o'clock and will be effective through December 4th at 5 o'clock. So we're looking at another about 3-week window of time that includes the Thanksgiving holiday in there. What are the major changes under Executive Order 176, you may ask? We're here to tell you. Under this order, phase 3 measures are extended for another 3 weeks. So everything that we've been going through is applicable through December 4th, 2020. Not a real big surprise there. We are fortunate in our community that a lot of our numbers are low in terms of transmission and cases right now. That is not the same throughout the rest of the state. There are some places east and south of here, especially, that are really having some hard problems right now. So a lot of that guidance shift has been because of what's going on in other communities, maybe not as much ours. Now, the other big change here, the mass gathering limit for indoor spaces, as I mentioned a moment ago, changing from 25 down to 10. So what remains the same under phase 3, you may ask? Well, for one thing, that outdoor mass gathering limit did not change. That still remains at 50. So 50 people can safely gather outdoors with the social distancing requirements that the state brings forward there. This order does not change at all, does not change the reduced capacity limit set for certain facilities and venues, including the exercise facilities that recently opened, restaurants that have been operating at a percentage capacity of 50% for quite some period of time. That does not change in this new version of phase 3, nor do personal care businesses, museums, aquariums, movie theaters, arenas, performing arts centers, meeting spaces in hotels, conference centers, and the likes. Any business basically that is operating off of a percentage right now of capacity, that operation remains the same. So you won't see any operational changes in restaurants and any retail spaces, none of that as a result of Executive Order 176 here. You see some other language here in this document. Very large outdoor facilities. I like that technical definition there. With a capacity of more than 10,000, guests may remain open at 7%. So those of you coming up for the football game this weekend, if you've got tickets for that, none of this changes that. You've got to have a ticket to get in, obviously, but there are no changes to the outdoor seating requirements there. The alcohol curfew still in place from 11 o'clock to 7, and that's part of that phase 3 stretch there. So what gatherings or other events are not subject to this new 10-person indoor mass gathering limit? There are several bullet points in this section I want you to pay attention to. One of those is about First Amendment activities. That's worship, religious, spiritual gatherings, wedding ceremonies, funerals, and other First Amendment activities. Those are not subject to the 10-person mass gathering limit indoors, nor are gatherings for work or receiving governmental services gatherings at places that are subject to the capacity limits that we talked about a moment ago from other executive orders. That's the restaurants, that's the retail, things along those lines. You'll still see normal operation at places like airports, bus and train stations or stops, medical facilities, libraries, shopping malls, shopping centers. You'll also see that families that have more than 10 people that reside together don't have to break up and go to other places. That 10 person indoor mass gathering limit does not apply to you. So what gatherings does this new change apply to? There are only 3 bullet points listed here. So let's be clear about this. We're talking indoor in-home gatherings, indoor in-home social events. It's really geared around the holidays here. We've got Thanksgiving and the full holiday season, Christmas and the like coming up. And this is about thinking about members of family and members of your friends that are gathering from other places into a central location that haven't been together, that haven't been quarantining together or anything like that. This is where that limit comes into play. 10 people inside. That's the new gathering limit. So if you're going over to grandma's house, make sure it's the 10 relatives you actually like, right? I'm kidding, of course. But those are the numbers that they're looking at there. Also, all other indoor gatherings not otherwise exempted from the executive order. I know that sounds like a big bucket full of stuff. When you go back through the document and read some of the exemptions, you'll find that this really only applies to gatherings where and you kind of feel what that may be. Some of our social gatherings and things along those lines. Indoor gatherings that aren't currently listed, those are subject to the 10 person indoor max. And again, this is in place till December 4th. So make sure you familiarize yourself with this list. You'll find that operationally, not a lot changes here with indoor capacity restrictions. Again, it's very specific to in-home gatherings, in-home social events, and other gatherings not stipulated by the executive order. So again, I don't think that this is going to change the way that you're moving around. What it is forcing people to do is think a little bit about their holiday gatherings. So let's stop the screen share here for just a second, and let's talk about what else the state said today too, as it related to that kind of that holiday operational mindset that you may have. Some of you may say, hey, you know what? I'm going to grandma's house. What the state is urging you to do is to think about some of the preventative things that you may be able to do to help navigate that situation before you go. And that could look like quarantining yourself for 14 days prior to travel, especially if you know that you're going to be around people that are in a high risk category, and encouraging others within your circle to do the same so you can be as safe as you possibly can. If that is not available to you, at least looking into getting a pre-travel COVID test. And Jen Green, who is the subject of an interview that we've got down the list here in your email box tonight, Jen talks about some of those very things that you can do in terms of testing and how testing is expanded in our area, where you can go to get those tests, and most importantly, what the proper time frame is. Doesn't do you any good to get a test today for Thanksgiving, right? That test result is no longer going to apply. But Jen can help kind of line out, if you're going to travel for Thanksgiving, if you've got to go do that thing and you want to get a clean COVID test first, when should you do that? And where are some places that you can get that test administered? So Jen's got some good information there in the video down below. You might want to check that out here tonight. We can entertain you without having to pay the Netflix fee. What do you know? A couple of other things as it relates to holiday gatherings. And we oftentimes, especially post-Thanksgiving, see a lot of shopping. Great opportunity here for local businesses to pay attention to what the state is saying, because it could be your playbook for operation. And what the state is encouraging people to do is to kind of go back a little bit and think about some of those safety procedures that we all held to be true back in April, May, that quite honestly, maybe some of us have gotten away from a little bit. That's making sure that you're wearing the mask inside the store, waiting 10 or 6 feet rather from people while you're inside a store, using the hand sanitizer that's available. But from an operational standpoint, also thinking about places that can offer curbside pickup or online purchasing that you can go and pick up quickly inside a venue, or in some cases, quick grab items that might be available for people to make their way into your shop, buy them quickly, and head out. You as the shopper can minimize your risk in there and not being inside and kind of having that lingering feel. But for business owners, this is a playbook for you to understand that it might be a good idea to bring back some of those things if you've scaled them back some. So that could look like alternate hours for shoppers from high risk categories. Many stores did that early on, and some are still doing that here in our community. Again, boosting up the opportunity for online purchasing, some of those types of things that were very successful in helping bring people to you can be successful in bringing people to you during the holiday season. I will tell you this. They're calling our office asking us these questions. People are calling and saying, hey, I want to come downtown to Boone, or I want to come to Boone and shop. Tell me the places that are doing it right. Tell me the places that I will feel safe. So if you are not communicating those operational changes with us, and we certainly encourage you to do so, make sure you're sharing them on social media at the very least, and make sure your staff is well versed to know what some of those important things that you may be doing operationally are, to share with people as they call your store and say, hey, what is it you're doing? Or do I have to wear a mask in there? Well, yes, absolutely. And here are the reasons and rationales for that. So it's about sharing information, about making sure that you're putting that positive vibe forward about health and safety, because it is very much on people's minds. Make sure your websites are updated. Anything you can do to explain how you're operating from a health and safety perspective, that's going to be a key to engaging with more shoppers in a safe and responsible way. All right, so that kind of covers some of the holiday stuff and some of the immediate information from this executive order. There's another thing that I want to mention here today. We're going to go back to the screen share on this, and I apologize. This is going to be a little bit confusing for some of you, but I just want to make sure that we at least get it out there, so those of you that qualify for this can actually get this information and digest it here. And that is the MURR program, Mortgage, Utility, and Rent Relief. MURR is not a COVID side effect. It's actually a program that the state of North Carolina, through the Commerce Department, has offered up to a variety of businesses that were closed for a period of time from April to July. And it provides some mortgage, utility, and rent relief. Basically, what is new today is that full service restaurants are now eligible to apply for MURR funds, and not all MURR funds. Now, one thing you'll notice in the second bullet point, restaurants may only request direct payments for up to 4 months of rent or mortgage interest. Restaurants will not be eligible for the utility cost reimbursement. So you're getting most of it, but not all of it here. But want to make sure that full service restaurants read through this. They can request payments up to $20,000 per location, no more than 2 locations. You must employ fewer than 50 people at the location where you are seeking assistance. When you go down to the kind of the nitty gritty of this whole process here and check on eligibility requirements, again, this doesn't change anything for businesses that have already applied for MURR. And this was something that was put out, again, for businesses that were closed for the longest period of time, that some of them just really opened recently. You don't lose your place in line by restaurants being eligible for this. You want to make sure that you've got your application in, though, because they do expect that these funds will be depleted now that they've added this new group. But I want to highlight one thing in here for full service restaurants. We talked about that with previous MURR applicants, you had to be closed for a period of time, April to July. For full service restaurants, that does not apply. So if you were closed at all, yeah, that's fine. Go ahead and apply for MURR. Even if you didn't have to close, you may qualify as well. So I would encourage you to check this link in your email. If you're a full service restaurant, that means people come in, sit down, pay after. Okay, if you qualify for one of these or are a qualifying business here, whether you're a full service restaurant or not, check out these benefits. They are available from the state. They do expect the fund to get depleted. They are going to try to fully fund the folks that they can get to. Can't guarantee that you will get reimbursed for some of these payments, but they highly encourage you to get that application in. So you'll want to do so. And again, the link in your email, it's on our website, also on our relaunch and recovery page. So check that out as well. Couple of final things for you. I know we've thrown a lot at you, and you haven't even seen Jen Green's interview yet. It's one that you're not going to want to miss. But a couple of quick things from a programming standpoint. We will have our first part of a 5-part series that we're calling the Vision Northwest North Carolina Focus on Our Future series coming up on Monday. Going to be talking a lot about workplace wellness in there. Dr. Mandy Cohen, who we have referenced several times tonight, will be our keynote speaker. We'll also have a panel of a regional folks to talk about wellness in the workplace and what you as an employer can do to encourage your employees to be as healthy and safe as possible right now. And that's not all related to COVID. We're talking about catching up on preventative care and some of those deferred care items that may have been pushed off due to COVID that you want to make sure that your employees are taking advantage of, especially as we're getting close to the end of the year. If anybody's on healthcare benefits, those might be about to reset. Now would be a good time to encourage your employees to take care of some of those things. So we'll be talking about that in our panel discussion on Monday. That's from 1 to 3, part of the Vision Northwest North Carolina Focus on Our Future series. You can register for that online at boonechamber.com. Final thing we want to talk about, it kind of goes away from COVID a little bit here, talking more about the election just passed. And we've got another event coming up on Tuesday, November 24th. It's called So What Just Happened? And that's where we try to make some economic heads or tails of what has happened during the election process. And again, a lot still to be, kind of siphoned out of what really we'll see in terms of impacts here locally, statewide, and federal. But we will have some conversations with some local financial experts about what we can expect to see from a business and personal side as it relates to the election fallout. Dale Falwell, who is the state treasurer, will be our keynote speaker at that event. He'll be talking about how the state sees some of those impacts getting ready to apply to businesses as we flip the calendar and continue on in our COVID economy. But we've got some other folks with a more regional and local perspective there as well. Sharon Harvey from the SBA, the Small Business Administration, that put out some of those PPP and EDL loans. Her office out of Asheville covers Western North Carolina. She'll be talking about some federal snapshots within that economic election ramification picture. We also have Jonathan Lubkeman, who is a very popular local banker out of BB&T, now Truist. He'll be talking about some of the local impacts of this, as well as Dr. Harry Davis, who has been a longtime contributor here to the chamber in his role as an economist here in our area. And then Mickey Dale from JPS, that's Johnson Price Sprinkle, PA, one of the more notable CPA firms here as well, kind of talking about some of the tax ramifications here. So want to have a conversation. We need to let a little bit of time go by so all these experts can get smart on what is indeed going to come. But we are going to have that conversation coming up as well. So make sure that you register for that online at boonechamber.com. Again, that's Tuesday, November 24th. So what just happened? We'll make heads or tails of it by the time we get to that point. All right. That's enough for us. Go watch the interview with Jen Green, the latest in our Keep Boone Healthy series. As always, if there's anything we can help you with, connecting you to resources or helping you make heads or tails of these executive orders, we are more than happy to do so. On behalf of our entire staff at the chamber, David Jackson saying good night. Go back to your email surfing. Don't spend too much time on social media. It's crazy out there right now. Take care, everybody.